Can you tell us about this?
Hi, everyone.
Hello, how are you?
Hello there. Just let's wait a minute before we start so that more people will be joining. All right, let's get started so that meanwhile, I'm sure more people will be joining it. All right, thanks so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Startup Club EdTech Investment Conference. My name is Batuhan, and I'm the host today. This is our fourth EdTech Investment Conference in the last 2 years. And I hope this one will be as good as the previous one. And as a startup club, this is what we do. We connect startups with investors through these industry-specific fundraising events in 2019. This is not the only, but one of the powerful way for us to match startups with investors. And we also cover other industries such as health tech, fintech, prop tech, B2 tech, green tech, AI agents and enterprise solutions, and so on. Sorry, let me mute everyone so that there won't be any echo. All right. And today we invited 5 edtech startups. Each of them will do a 5-minute presentation, followed by 6-7 minute Q&A with the advisory board members. We have startups focusing on different fields like eye tracking tutor, social emotional learning platform, student loan, Chinese learning, English learning, and more. Now we work with 4 VCs for the advisory board, Breastring Ventures, Lumos Capital Group, Bright Eye Ventures, and Learn Capital. I will ask the advisor to introduce themselves. Miriam, shall we start with you? First of all, welcome. Thanks so much for joining and being on the board. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Miriam Altman-Reyes. I am a founder and general partner of Breastring Ventures. We are a seed stage fund and growth studio that takes a very hands-on approach to supporting our companies across the future of learning and work sectors. And I am excited to hear about the companies that are presenting today.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Miriam. Great to have you with us. Marina.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marina Weidman. I'm an investor at Lumos Capital Group. We are a growth equity firm focused exclusively on education technology and the workforce development sectors based out of New York. And excited to hear the pitches today.
Thanks so much, Marina. Mateus.
Hi all, nice to see you here. I'm Mateus, head of finance at Bright Eye for the past 2 years, early stage focused edtech fund in Europe. And yeah, I have at least one investment with Lumos. So yeah, kind of know each other already. But yeah, excited to hear the pitches.
Great, thank you, Mateus. Arishi.
Hi, everyone. I'm an investor at Learn Capital. We're a pure edtech VC based out of the US, but we invest globally and invest multi-stage from early pre-revenue all the way to growth. Excited to be here and to learn more about the companies.
Great, thanks so much, Erishim. By the way, people invested in the audience, you can also use the chat to interact with the presenters, but usually we will only hear from the advisors for the discussion post pitches. Yeah, all right then. So we can start with the first presentation, and the first company is Tempo Rating. Tim Wilson, CEO and co-founder of the company, will share the opportunity with us. Tim, feel free to share your presentation and start when you're ready. And you will have 5 minutes to pitch and about 6-7 minutes for the Q&A questions.
Okay, I'm just starting off my little clock here. Hi, everybody. Hope you can see the presentation okay.
Yes.
My name is Tim Wilson. I'm the CEO and innovator of Tempo Reading, the world's first eye tracking and AI flow state tutor. Just to set the scene, we're currently available on iPad and will be Chromebook in about 10 days with first to market advantage, expert team across all aspects of the business, previous pre-seed investment from SFC Capital London, UK government deep tech grant, and we have a London family office very interested in running a larger race for us toward the end of the year. Current traction is we have UK Education Authority pilots beginning with one of our reseller partners in the UK and other extensive pilots for our own efforts and other resellers. We have pilots inbound in Saudi Arabia. We're talking to VeryQuest USA, who have 20,000 school clients, about pilots and a reseller agreement. Also reseller interest in Mexico and Turkey. UK government is introduced to the Singapore Education Department, and we've got intros to Disney and Sesame Street in LA. And we're just signing a deal with Swansea University for some advanced research, which they're running with us. They're very excited about the technology and its utilization. Why have we built Tempo? Basically, there's a global crisis in education and cognition. And just to be fundamentally clear here, we are not another generic AI system or gamification trying to build on the shaky foundations of this cognition and education crisis. We are fixing those fundamentals and improving them. That is our goal, and that is our mission with Tempo Reading. So whether that's declining attention spans, neurodiverse reading, teacher workload, TikTok brain, we know that's picked to all of us, home reading levels of workplace learning, we're here to solve these issues and improve cognition for everybody. The core is flow state. We all know what a flow state is. You play piano, you play guitar, you lost in work. It's a focused state of deep concentration. We have the ability to help every student access their flow state within 30 seconds or 2 minutes. Okay, that alone is a revolution in terms of cognition. So how do we do this? We use eye tracking and AI to track whether the child is actually reading and trigger prompts if they're not focused. We use text reveal to prevent skim reading, which is the enemy of knowledge retention. And we reveal the text at low beta wave speeds, which amplifies and accentuates knowledge retention. So that's the key methods there. What we're essentially doing is combining metacognitive learning, how we've learned music, sport, and chess for centuries, which is slow is fast learning, with neurocognitive entrainment, of which we're at the frontier of with Cambridge University Mind Lab, which basically says, if you can deliver information at the tempo of the neural pulse, you will accelerate learning. That is why we reveal the text at low beta waves. So you've got some very high level science here, hence why the English government have backed us with a research grant. The technology comes with inclusive tech, supported fonts and backgrounds, fully aligned UK curriculum and international background aligned. We're also working on a US curriculum, comprehension questions after every page, and the AI is basically analysing and generating reports for the teacher and parent and the child as well. So we see this as an assistant tutor for every parent and every school they can afford. Impact for the neurodiverse, very simply, our text reveal and eye tracking system overcomes ocular meter issues, which result in word, letter, line jumbling. We're reducing distraction, we're decreasing anxiety, that is increasing focus and increasing working memory. And also by revealing and propagating extra beta waves, we're dealing with the issue of ADHD learners, generally speaking, having lower beta wave activity. You put those things together and you get the results on the right-hand side of the screen, which are indicative of our extensive pilots over the last year. The AI, our goal with the AI, which is in development at the moment, is to really pioneer the world's most advanced personalized learning AI. How can we do that? Because we're collecting data that is unique and proprietary to us. Optimum reading speeds, focus rates, combined with all the information we have. So that is in process. Really what Tempo is a platform of platforms. Our markets are the EdTech market, obviously, but also the private tutoring market. K-12 is launched in a go-to-market phase. Our AI will be licensable to governments. We'll provide a neurodiverse reading solution to publishers who have some traction there. We can get into adult learning and compliance because we can tell if a document is read or not and force people to read it at a knowledge retention speed. And we intend to launch a flow state app. We want to be the kings of flow state learning across all sectors and all genres. Scalable revenue, £1,500 to £6,000 a year for schools, £8 a month B2C parents. These two are interlinked, they will propel each other. The need is critical, especially amongst the reluctant reader, neurodiverse aspects, and also home learning as well from parents. Publishers will be white label, compliance will be an API play, there will be transactional revenue. The roadmap is to secure this raise now, accelerate this huge inflection point we're at. We are a small team with limited funding. We've achieved already great things. We can now absolutely amplify that and drive us to that Series A funding round later in the year in January 25. All the major global EdTech VCs are tracking progress. A simple takeaway in terms of numbers is 50,000 parents of reluctant readers, neurodiverse students, home reading across every G20 country, and 1,500 schools in 3 years' time. We can achieve that goal. Thank you. Any questions? Hopefully I'm under 5 minutes, Spatchon.
Yeah, no, it's great. Great presentation,
you.
team. Thank you so much.
you.
Miriam, would you like to start? What do you think about the presentation?
Sure. Thanks for the presentation, Tim. Really interesting to
Thank
hear what you're working on. I'd love to hear a little bit more on just traction to date.
Sure.
And I think, you know, a little bit, like, I know you said you're not just another AI tool, but I'd love to hear, like, who are your primary competitors in the market and how are you really winning as you're kind of going up against them?
Yeah, so first thing, there is no direct competitor, okay? There is an intersectional competitor in a company called Explore. They use eye tracking, they require a third-party unit, and it's more of a diagnostic tool. So it's the combination, Miriam, of these elements of the eye tracking, the text reveal, and that interaction, what it propels, that makes us very unique. Traction, we are pre-rev, but rev is incoming. That's pretty much guaranteed from our reseller partners. We are taking a reseller model globally, okay, to achieve that traction. The example of VeriQuest in the States being one example of that. But we believe we'll be in revenue in US, UK, Saudi Arabia within the next 3 to 4 months. That's where we're heading for. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question on, I guess, like how you're implementing curriculum currently. Is it like built on the platform that you are currently only doing like UK curriculum? Or are you able to, I guess, input like any curriculum?
Yeah, Marina, at the moment, the curriculum we have is built by ourselves. It's based on the UK, fully aligned to UK curriculum and international baccalaureate. We are working on a US curriculum, but you can upload other curriculum content. Okay, we can upload it at the moment, but that functionality is coming probably in the next 4 to 8 weeks that a third party can upload their own content to it. We've based the sort of vibe and tone of what we do very much on what's called BBC Bite Size, which is hugely popular in the UK and very engaging. So we've got to have our own content. I think that's crucial. When it comes to going global, we anticipate partnering with publishers in various countries. I think for us to handle every region with our own curriculum will be a little bit of a big ask. So hopefully that's okay.
Thank you, Marina. Mateusz?
Yeah, so with these 500K that you're raising now, where do you expect to get by the end of the year? And what do you need to achieve to unlock this 3 million from the family office?
The family office actually want to run with us now, but we just don't feel comfortable with that. We think they're a little bit over optimistic in terms of their viewpoint at the moment. What I'd like to achieve for that, Matthias, is positive revenue, B2B, US, UK. I think Saudi Arabia is pretty much a lock-in by what's going on there, that we will start getting clients there pretty big. And we'd like to see some traction on the B2C side as well, in the critical areas of homeschooling and neurodiverse learning, where we do have an extremely compelling, unique solution. Just to be clear as well, using Tempo, there is a lot of science, there is a lot of math behind it. It's extremely intuitive. It is plug and play. For the teacher, no training is required. And for kids, it's like they're up and running in 30 seconds. So, but I can provide you post-call more details on the model and finances, that sort of stuff, definitely. You know, give you more detailed granular on that.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Arishi, how about you? Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, nice to see you again, Tim.
Yeah, Arishi.
Presentation.
Okay.
I feel like I've asked so many questions in the past.
I know. I was about to send you an update tomorrow as well, so which I will be doing anyway. So
I guess in ahead of your update, how's the progress going on kind of the impact tracking and the research you've been doing on the impact in literacy and speed for understanding and reading? And I know you've been running multiple pilots there.
Yeah. I would say that's all going well. I think the avenue to that sort of answer is our research at Swansea University, which will be starting in the next 3 or 4 weeks. They're very excited to work with us. They know what's going to happen out of this research, and that will be focused on improvements in eye muscle control by using tempo for the neurodiverse. That'll be on anxiety, reduced anxiety, while using tempo, and post anxiety, and also on the post benefit in terms of what we talked about before. Okay, we can anecdotally say it, and some of the schools can say, well, the kids, they use tempo, and then when they read a book, they're more focused. It's anecdotal. We're going to get more sort of narrative around that, qualitative narrative around that data. But look, it's all common sense stuff. Yeah, if you're working a muscle, which is what we're doing, the neurons and the working memory, you work any muscle, it improves. And that's basically when you're in flow state, you improve your cognition, you improve your working memory, you improve your knowledge retention. The longer you're in flow state, the more benefit you're going to get. It's just that we're the first to do it, really, in terms of a reading application. We do it all day long as musicians. You know, we do it all day long in most of our work environments. Yeah. So, but it's the first time we've been doing reading.
Thank you, Tim.
No problems.
All right, yeah, the time is almost up. So thanks so much, team. Thank you all the advisor for the contribution. Thank you, team.
Thank you so
to be
much.
with us.
Cheers.
Be sure to reach out to team and Tempo Rating to learn more about the opportunity. Thank you again.
I'll stop sharing. There we go.
All right. So the next company is Heroes Mate. Maria Laviti, founder and CEO of the company, will share the opportunity with us. Maria, feel free to share your screen and start when you're ready.
Thank you so much. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. So I'm sharing my screen now. Let me know if it comes up.
Not yes. Right now, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It was a great presentation, by the way. Very interesting stuff. So kudos to that. My name is Maria, and welcome to Heroes Mate. We're a social emotional learning platform solution that fits the moment in education now. The reason I'm saying that is because as AI is giving access to knowledge, schools are shifting their priorities a bit. The big question now is not so much what kids know, it's about who they're becoming, who's going to carry this knowledge. And this shift has created a huge demand for lifelong learning skills known as social emotional learning, or SEL. It is one of the fastest growing areas in education, and we have a perfect fit for that. The biggest problem in social emotional learning is it's quite overwhelming for teachers to prepare for class. And most solutions out there are very time consuming. And also the output is one size fits all, which kind of fails kids in terms of connecting them with the actual process. So the way we're changing that is we created a platform that requires zero time from teachers and ensures every single student feels seen, which is very, very important for a sense of belonging and also for validation. All lessons are prepared already. They're on the platform, and students are their own individual hero through their own avatars through the lessons. Teachers can teach this with just 3 clicks, and I will show you how in a bit. The method that we wrapped around with our technology, it is the EU policy mandate method and also the US federal policy of social emotional learning. The way I put it is that we did not just build another platform, we fixed the actual problem while keeping it completely aligned with educational standards, completely compliant, and still zero prep. The timing couldn't be more perfect for us. We have 87% of the teachers say that they want social emotional learning, but time is an issue. We have 49 US states supporting SEL through policy, and also we have EU mandates coming down now. Schools are looking for solutions, but they don't want to spend extra funding on training their staff or extra hours on a daily for their staff to prepare. But perhaps the biggest indicator of this huge opportunity is how the market is projected to grow. It's about to go from a $2.9 billion market to a $13 billion market within the next 5 years. One of the fastest growing segments in education because of how important it is as we are changing the way we learn. We already mapped out 46,000 schools that we can reach with our current model setup, meaning without any further localization. We have identified our immediate strategic milestone of 1,200 schools. And once we hit that number, we're in a strong position at a strategic inflection point, whether that means Series A or even acquisition. The way that we get to schools is through integrator. For example, GG4L takes care of rostering, onboarding, compliance, and we focus 100% on the product. Unlike other platforms out there, we don't need to train the teachers, which saves a lot of money for the schools and a lot of time. Every lesson is personalized, which means every single student feels seen and engages. And we integrate seamlessly with any school system out there already. Super fast onboarding with just one click. Our pilots are very, very encouraging. 100% engagement reported by teachers. We had 28% drop in classroom disruptions and 57% drop in red flag emotional incidents. I can cover more on that on the Q&A if you're curious. So everything a teacher needs is already built into the platform, which is lessons that we continue and enrich every month, assessments, and mood tracking. So this is how it works. You log in as a teacher, you click on a lesson, it opens up, and the second click is the purple button you see up. When you click that, it automatically renders a book for every child in the class. So every kid will have the same lesson, yet they get to be the protagonist of this lesson. They're all learning together, but they feel seen. Students can be assessed, and we continue to measure effectiveness. Mood calendars also allow teachers to take preemptive action when needed. So when we do this right, it can transform schools and children, because we see boost in confidence, behavior, belonging, and academics, plus 40 plus other benefits already associated with social emotional learning. So in 3 years, we built, piloted, refined, and partnered with critical players in EdTech. Our core team is comprised of 5 incredible experts in their respective fields, and our business model matches how schools actually buy. Most decisions happen through trusted partners, which are distributors, resellers, operators, and so on. So the way we do it is that we onboard these guys, lead generation happens, demonstration, negotiation on our part, and then we onboard the schools. Our pricing is B2B. Pricing is clear, affordable, and adaptable, and we ensure that it is not a barrier to market. We're raising 500K right now. 40% will go to commercialization. Our strategy is already ready to go as soon as we are funded, and 20% will go to some tech enhancements that we want to see. This investment takes us into profitability, and our model reflects our real pipeline and clear strategy that we have in place. This is a high impact, high return investment because zero prep and zero training removes a very major adaptation barrier. It's already validated, it's built to scale without friction, and our platform works for any school, whether it's just one class or the whole country. So Heroes Made offers solid, effective, innovative solution for foundational lifelong learning field, and we're ready to lead the way. Thank you very much, and hopefully I stayed within my time.
All right, thanks so much, Maria. Great presentation. Arishi, would you like to start this time? A question or comment from our side?
Yes. Thank you so much for the presentation, Maria. I think it's really interesting, the problems you mentioned in traditional SEL curriculum and why teachers haven't been able to implement it. And you said that with your curriculum, there's the time problem is solved. Could you go into that a little bit more? Like, you know, there's lessons that they have to do with the students, but there's less prep work. And I guess if I were a teacher, how long would this realistically take? You know, on average,
Yes.
teacher might only have an hour, hour and a half in the classroom. So how would they segment that, and kind of how have you seen that play out in your pilots?
Yes. I was referring to the preparation time that happens prior to class. The class, it's always 45 minutes, right? So because we prepare everything, and every single thing on our platform does not require any additional preparation. Everything is ready, the way that we teach, the activities, and they don't require any additional stuff to be brought to school, right? The only thing that might require a little bit of time is if they want to print a worksheet. Everything else, the time goes from 50 to 60 minutes all the way down to 4 minutes, which is pretty much logging in, picking the lesson, rendering the books takes 30 seconds, and then clicking start. And that's it. So we went from requiring a lot of preparation to nothing. Just picking a book and you're good to go. And all the books are aligned with all major educational standards, such as CASL, Common Core ELA, British curriculum, and also we have aligned it to the Carnegie principles.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you for the
Arushi.
question. Yeah.
Marina, do you have any question?
Yeah, thanks, Maria, for sharing. This is super interesting and definitely interesting to dive into the SEL space. I am curious to hear, I guess, a little bit more on the curriculum side and like how often that's being refreshed, and then maybe a little bit on like for this 500K, I know you mentioned using that for like some tech developments. It'd be great to hear about that as well.
Yes. So we already have a very rich interface. We have over like 200 lessons already launched. So that's more than enough for a couple of years. However, every month we go ahead and add 5 more. So it's kind of like Netflix. When you log in, there's always something new. That's what's going to be happening with us as well. Every time you log in, there's going to be a new lesson. You can pick that, or you can go to something that already pre-existed on the platform. Of course, you can filter based on competencies and based on grade level, so you don't have to scroll all this way. Now, this brings me to my next point. When it comes to the 500K, most of it is going to go to commercialization. We already got everything down, and we know who we're going to work with and what we should be expecting. We want to do a little bit of tech enhancements in a way where teachers can go ahead and favor a few things. So they have them all pre-selected, you know, so that shaves off another 4 minutes really from the process, making it completely zero. And also we want to make a way for them to be able to see what they've already done before, because right now we don't have that. It's based on their memory, right? If they covered a lesson or not. So we want to make it so it shows on their dashboard. Other things that we want to achieve is we want to localize in Spanish as well, because it's quite important for the US market. It is not like we're still now in the process of getting into schools there. It is not a barrier, but it is definitely going to enhance our offering to schools in the US market.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I hope I answered everything you asked. It was
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Great. Miriam?
Sure. Hi, Maria. Thanks for the really great presentation. I really appreciate learning more about your company, your platform. I guess my question doubles down a little bit on some of the prior questions, which is just to try to really understand what is going to make a school or a district, particularly in the US market, purchase your product over others. And I say that because there are, as I'm sure you know, many different platforms already in existence out there.
Yeah,
a couple that are larger, right? Yeah, and I know you had a slide on this, and lots of much smaller players that have had a hard time getting significant market share. So, you know, given that sort of crowding the market, how do you think your platform is going to kind of win the day? And then I guess a part 2 to that question is, what do you think is the eventual opportunity for sort of an end game for the business? Just also kind of thinking about how there could be consolidation in the space in the next couple of years.
Yes. So what makes us different is definitely the zero prep. We're saving significant time, and also we are saving the money from the training. A lot of the programs that exist already require time to be taken off, like a week or even like 3 months sometimes, with people actually on the ground training teachers on how to use an abundance of actual paper like products, you know, on how to do it in class. One is that. 2, customization is very critical, especially for inclusion, especially for making sure that every single kid feels seen in class. So that is a big one. It also drives engagement as well. We're the only ones that do that as of now. And it's, I think it's a very big driving factor for the decision, because that helps them with, you know, engagement, inclusion, making sure everybody feels like a sense of belonging. It's very, very important. They're not bystanders in the process. They're participating in the process, and that is a huge advantage. Now, when it comes to our competitors, Let me go back. I'm sorry if I'm making you dizzy, everybody. Okay.
And Mara,
so-
by the way, time is almost up, so maybe final word
Yes,
from you.
just when it comes to our competitors, as you can see here, zero prep, zero training, personalization, we're the only ones. We have the mood tracking, which is very, very important, and this was requested by teachers during the pilots. A story-driven approach, it is by far the best hands-down approach to actually teach ETL. And we are also part, when it comes to certifications and to data encryption and all that, I believe we'll have the highest validation right now through our partners. Now, when it comes to consolidation, we're looking at growing, we know our roadmap. We want 1,200 schools in the next few years. That brings us close to 6 million. We're also negotiating a couple of nationwide contracts in Europe. We're almost very, very close closing the one here. It's just a tedious bureaucratic process when you're working with government. And also another thing that I forgot to mention, and thank you so much for being so graceful with the time, we are part of a very, very important change that's happening in the United States through a zero trust system that's about to be unveiled in a month at ISTE. And this is a system that already pre-vets pre-vets everyone. So the districts don't have to go through the normal buying cycle. So a press of a button gives them instant access, and everything is 100% encrypted according to the standards of the government. We're the only SEL solution in that package right now. So
Great.
we're very
Thanks
excited.
so much, Maria.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Great presentation. All right, let's move to the next company, Wordbox. Chris Martin, founder and CEO, will introduce Wordbox to us. Chris, feel free to share your screen and go ahead with the presentation.
Sure, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. First time I'm doing 5 minutes ever, so I'll jump right into it. My name's Chris Martin. I've previously been Vice President of Tech Unicorns in China. The last one exited for $3.7 billion. And outside of business, since I was a teenager, my interest has been in second language acquisition, so learning languages. And I focused on doing it in a hyper accelerated fashion. So can I learn Chinese in 9 months? Can I learn Japanese in 9 months, Spanish in 3 months, etc.? And that's what I did using techniques, effectively organizing how I consume content from that language. And at the same time, because it's been an interest, I'd always ask people who speak English as a second language how they did it. No one ever has said my English is great because I use Duolingo, right? Everyone either has a privileged background or has spent some money, lots of money in their childhood, or they say this phrase, I watched Friends in English growing up. Pretty much one of those two things. And that made so much sense for me as I was recently learning Spanish a few years ago and started to apply today's technology to doing something that could be scaled to let everyone use content to learn language. And right now we do English. We're called Wordbox English. We're around 100,000 monthly active users and an annualized revenue of around $1 million. We make all of our revenue back on CAC. So what we spend in a week, we get back in revenue within 7 days. Duolingo proves that the language learning market's enormous and can grow and can grow and can grow. And really, it still can grow much, much more because I live in Brazil right now. I've previously lived in China and Mexico, Japan, etc. The majority of the world does not speak English, the huge majority, and they want to. All the content's created in English, the business opportunities require that you speak English, and there's still so much more growth. The apps that exist today are either effectively digitalized textbooks or AI conversation bots, but they don't address the real issues. And what we see consumer behavior falling into today, which the first presentation touched on as well, is everyone, the younger they are, the more they're doom scrolling through videos, short video, very short video, shockingly short in the case of when I watch people use TikTok. Instagram copied it with Instagram Reels, YouTube copied TikTok with YouTube Shorts, and young people 3 or 4 hours a day in these video feeds. What Wordbox does, and we've already generated a proprietary content management system, we've scraped millions of pieces of content from whatever you're interested in, and we turn that into the questions, lessons, courses to learn everything in English. So it's generative, so it's covered the whole language. We're first time that that's existed, I think, in an app. We personalize around exactly what the user's interested in, because the goal is that the user consumes English content in some degree, whether it's a TikTok video or a Netflix, and we've started with TV series. They encounter it again and practice with the right frequency, density, repetition in Wordbox. And then they encounter it because they're consuming content in their daily lives outside of that. Our engine is mapped linguistically every piece of content for words per second, syntactic patterns, difficult phonemes, everything that's possibly required. And it covers the whole language. To be very quick with time, I put some videos in. This is an early question, from friends, I think. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a beautiful morning.
So it's got a tic-tac slide.
How about tomorrow afternoon? How about tomorrow afternoon?
And it's starting very early on to recognize the words that they'll be defining and spelling there. Another feature that shows off the engine is how it's disambiguated the different meanings of the word fire here in the dictionary section. This is more for reference.
We went to the fire station open house. Jealous? Please just calm down. The fire's getting... Fire escape, huh? What you doing? Escaping fires? Fire?
So that was the word fire, like the hot flamey thing. And then here's the verb.
Oh, they fired Clem for that. Oh, they fired Clem for that.
Mr. Franz getting fired?
So that's pulling from a content that I like. In that case, I selected Bob's Burgers. And I put in one of the VCs just now into our course generator. I'm not sure if it plays here. So one of the VC's names here, Bright Eye. And it generated a course with the words investor, market, opportunity, strategy, future, digital, etc. And then it would generate the questions to learn all the vocab to talk about that topic.
Clock
here.
ain't digital. You don't know it.
There you go. Our MAU is trending upwards very nicely, and that's all profitable growth. By profitable growth, I mean we've in the last since August last year, our marketing spend has always generated more revenue than the cost of the marketing itself. Our markets, anywhere where we focus an ad, we make a nice ad for Mexico because our team's largely based in Mexico and Spanish-speaking Latin America, and then Brazil, where I live. And we also, the US is a huge market as well, but we're in 20 different languages in countries all over the world. And we have some users that are crazy. They've done over, I think our top user's done 150,000 of those exercises. And he swears that it's changed his life and he understands everything now.
Time is actually up, so maybe we can move to the Q&A and you can
Great.
talk more about that part. Yeah. All right, thanks so much, Chris. So, Mateusz, would you like to start this time?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the presentation, Chris. And curious, I'm Brazilian, and my question touches a bit on like the Brazilian landscape. I know that Brazil has kind of somehow tough laws regarding copyright. Is there any legal risk of being using this content the way you're using?
So no, we're incorporated in Delaware, and any of the countries with common law have what's called fair use for transformative use of digital content. If it's for satirical, journalistic, educational purposes, using the minimum of the content required to achieve said goal without causing cause commercially to the content. I can run off a spiel. We use very short clips, and no one's going to cancel their Disney Plus or HBO or anything to use Wordbox. On the contrary, this is advertising. This is a trailer. This puts the Seinfeld that you've never watched because you're too young. Suddenly it's an option and you do some questions and you realize it's funny. And then you ask, where do I find Seinfeld on Netflix? And we can redirect you there and become an affiliate. That's the short answer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mateusz. Miriam?
Sure. I have a similar question that I've asked most of the other companies so far. But first of all, congratulations on, again, all the progress with the company and the platform. It seems like it's really taking off globally, which is really exciting. So I'll again ask sort of a two-part question. One is just, again, with many different language learning platforms and applications, like what is really making your platform stand out? Obviously something's working, but I'm curious to just drill down a little bit more into that. And where do you see the long-term vision of the company?
Okay, so no other app or software that focuses on languages can personalize hundreds of millions of different pieces of content around your personal interests. If you like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, you'll be learning exclusively from Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones. If you use Duolingo or any other app, you'll be learning from an imaginary random little girl or cartoon talking about John is in the kitchen or something. The differences are enormous in that sense. We use only real content. You only learn from a content that you love. And we have this.
Chris, you are frozen right now.
Words you're learning, on and on. Where we want to take the product with use of funds, do a few different things. Oh my God, my internet's dropping.
We lost you at some point.
That's really frustrating. Let me just turn off my camera.
Yes, you could do that.
Please, I hope for an extra 30 seconds, if I may.
Sure, no worries.
Calling.
We can now hear you, by the way. Yeah.
You can hear me at least. Okay. So right now we have 400 TV series and we have 4,000 films integrated into the index. But I want to increase to around 5 billion pieces of content. I want us to be positioned not against Duolingo, but against TikTok, where you spend 5 hours a day in TikTok and you've become stupider and you've lost your attention. In Wordbox, you'd spend that same time and you've dived forward in your fluency for a key target language. So the more content, the more we can personalize it. If you like soccer, football, then you'd see soccer and football interviews, learning about the words that you're thinking about all day. That's what Brazilian taxi drivers talk to me about when they want to learn English. And also video ads. So, oh, my computer's gone strange.
We can still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you well.
This ad was Portuguese, and we turned it.
No Nubank, você organiza seus...
It's a Nubank ad in Portuguese, and it's automatically turned into the questions that non-paying users.
Nubank, you organize your investments by objectives and you can buy a new car.
That's going to create a flywheel of positive profit of cash flow, because that's aligned the brand and the user's interest. They want to learn the word. The brand wants to wash their brain with the marketing message. And when you have to translate, summarize, spell, pronounce, rearrange the words, you get that message really, really deeply. We know who the users are, what their interests are, what they're trying to learn. And we can have the video ad become the content for the users that don't pay the subscription, which are 95% of our users. And our CAC for those users around $0.06. So about 6 cents in the US per user that we acquire. And we'd be able to monetize those by many multiples once they've got to the average number of questions, which are user answers, which is 71 per user right now. That's where I want to take the company. Much more content, integrate much more AI, and bring this ad video, sponsored lesson, native ad into the business model.
All right. Time's almost up, by the way, Chris. Maybe if you have any final words, we can have from you. Then we can move to the next presentation.
Any what, sorry?
Any final words from you, maybe, Chris?
Talk to me. Let's get in touch. I haven't spoken with anyone in the meeting or anyone in the call, so I'd love to speak. We're raising 2 million right now. We're raising 2 million in the middle of a fundraise at about a 12 to 15 million valuation.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. Great presentation. All right. The next company is EDTECH. Carmina, CEO and founder of the company, will do the presentation to us. Yeah, feel free to share screen and go after the presentation.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
All right. So great to be here. Thank you. To quickly introduce myself, I was born to parents who actually only got out of poverty by getting a college degree. It's what actually inspired me to spend 15 years in education finance, building expertise in that space. Given this from governments and companies around the world, I'm now known as the expert in this topic. My experience allowed me to understand students deeply. Take, for example, Mikay here. Her family makes just enough to put food on the table, which is why they can't afford to pay her tuition. She can't just walk into a bank and get a loan. She doesn't have credit history and collateral. There's microfinance and fintechs, but the loans are too small and too short. This leaves her with very few options: drop out of school or get into a debt trap with loan sharks. There are 500 million youth, half a billion youth in the developing world, just like Mikay, and I found it invested to change these statistics, starting with the Philippines. I started by studying models globally to ensure my solution was evidence-based. Even so, I had to validate first, of course, if what worked elsewhere would work in the Philippines. Moreover, since there existed no working student loan credit score, I needed to take the long haul in R&D. So during the R&D phase, we built a digital platform where students can get a loan for college or upskilling, and succeeded in building the country's best student loan data set. We also built custom software that had the capabilities we needed to build two AIs. Alvin AI uses simple but powerful data points, such as school and degree, to profile a student's education to early career journey. Based on this, Alvin personalizes the loan offer and produces a credit score so invested can make a decision to lend. Jade then uses behavioral data to profile the type of interaction a student prefers that will maximize collections. On the fund side, we blend different kinds of lenders. Coupled with our performance, this model led us to hit both scale and affordability. For example, we scaled our healthcare fund by 4x during the pandemic, and by next year, another 8x based on funders in the pipeline. The impact of our product on students is great. For Mikay, our loan got her to be the first in her family to get a college degree. And because of our traction and our customer satisfaction, we've been highly praised by regulators in our recent annual audit. There are 10 other startups who tried to solve this problem but failed to achieve the right model that can balance risk and growth like our model did. The failures are primarily rooted in a combination of lack of expertise in student loans plus bad execution. Furthermore, our intellectual property is superior to fintech AIs because it is the only one that can improve willingness to pay, which is the core problem in this kind of market. The strength of our IP led us to expand its applications even beyond our core business of direct lending. This includes managing loan books on behalf of institutions, helping employers hire talent, and helping brands improve their products to the next generation of consumers. This is the rockstar team that's been building this with me. If you ask our investors, they will all tell you that their top reason for investing is because our team understands Gen Zs on such a deep level. Moreover, they like the way we executed. Now that we have a solid, profitable product, we're focused on turning EBITDA profitable. This table shows our loan margins. Based on this, we make an average of $46 per year per active loan. Given our fixed overhead, the break-even point is this number. To hit this target, only two things need to happen. First is to launch a new version of Alvin. Version 10 will be capable of producing richer borrower profiles, which include a prediction on efforts to collect, lifetime value, and even job security during the age of AI. To hit 8K, we actually have enough applications already. Our current problem is that we only convert 5%. Our churn data shows we lose customers because students think that all fintechs will harass them, and their parents, who are the guarantors, haven't heard about us from fellow parents. To solve this, we have Project K-pop, which will leverage on our thousands of happy customers and parents to create viral content, educating the rest of the market that Invested is a student-friendly loan and Invested is trusted by parents. I'm currently raising 3.5 million pre-A round, to which 2.4 million has now been filled by a diversified pool of investors. These are our financial projections for the Philippine market only. If we hit 100% of these targets, an M&A exit could be as early as 2 years from now, making investors in this round at least 5x. Finally, for investors with a longer investment horizon, you can journey with us towards global expansion, make upwards of 20x, and best of all, be part of the company who solve the global problem of generational poverty. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks so much, Carmina. Great presentation. Marina, would you like to start? What did you think about the presentation?
Yes. Thank you, Carmina. I think this hits home for me. I'm also Filipino, so definitely resonates. But
Nice.
I would love to hear, I guess, on the like scaling side and like regulatory side, are there any issues or like complexities around like Filipino regulation? And then does that create like a barrier to scale globally?
Yeah. So SEC is the regulator of fintechs in the Philippines. They've only given 103 fintechs a license, so we're one of them. And again, actually, on our most recent audit this year, so we're heavily regulated. Actually, we actually received the commendation from the regulator. So in the Philippine market, no barrier in terms of regulatory. We have the license. We're already considered like part of the gold standard that they do want other fintechs to emulate. In terms of other markets, there will be a similar license that we would need to acquire per market when we internationally expand. So my strategy is to explore a joint venture model with some of like existing fintechs in the markets I want to expand to. And I can deep dive more on the international expansion in case it's a similar question to the others. Yeah.
Thank you, Marina. Arushi, how about you?
Thank you for the presentation, Carmina. Very interesting. And one of the questions that kind of came up as I was thinking of the model you're explaining is, are there partnerships that you're launching like with governments, like the Filipino government, that help subsidize like the cost of providing these loans, but also providing them like financial data, since it seems like that's aligned with the interests of the government to like advance education. So curious to know how the institutional government partnerships are going.
Sure. It's actually very much part of our roadmap, Arushi. So you'll see here that when we do expand internationally, we do want to be like, so if you look at US and Europe market, there's actually a private institution, which is one of our IPO comparables, that run the whole back end for governments. But if you look at developing nations, like developing world, no one has actually cornered that market, and we want to be like the one to do that. So it's very they're actually, governments are very open to this. And again, I'm already recognized by several governments as like the expert, which is part of my early positioning. So in the Philippine market, I'm already having talks with senators, and it does help that we were awarded by the Senate in terms of our traction, but they are very open to it because most Southeast Asian governments have tried student loans, but weren't able to make it successful when it was themselves running it. And they do prefer to like actually field that out to a private company eventually. So that's also why I do want to scale up pretty soon, because the government is actually ready to actually consider that. And it's a matter of us getting to profitability first, because that's the only time we can get awarded such a contract and so forth. But yeah, they're actually pretty open. Yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rishi. Mateusz?
Thanks, Carmina. Just a question on the default rate. I believe on the slides you had 15% in the first year, and then it would decrease to 8%. Could you talk a bit more on like the strategy to reduce that, please?
Here. So this is where I talked about non-performing loan rates. Yeah. So the answer to that, Mateos, right? Is that right?
Perfect.
We do not plan to reduce it because we are already commensurate to the best lenders in the country. And so actually it looks high, but in emerging market, this is the good range. So in terms of the subprime, lower income market lending. But yeah, again, we actually, when we were in R&D phase, we were hitting like 20% because our algorithm wasn't as good. And so that has been the primary focus in the past 18 months, like really squeeze the margins on the loan profitability. And now that we've hit that, then we want to now like increase the number of borrowers because it's now more cost efficient to grow. Yeah. The strategy is to maintain within the range, but ideally stay within the lower half of the range, which to be honest, we do still have some projects in order to hit that. And then eventually the vision is actually securitization, which is actually a lot of our funders here. If you look here, we have for employers. So I have this is part of my securitization where we plan to like really zero out the risk on the fund side, because for when we have employers come in as funding, they kind of provide like a guarantee for commercial funders, and I have piloted this in a small scale already. So yeah, so actually the healthcare fund is a perfect example, because we're talking with governments like Singapore's Temasek to provide a guarantee fund because they need a lot of nurses in the country. And that allows me to actually bring in like millions of dollars of commercial debt at like zero risk for them, because there's that layered approach in the fund structure. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mateus. We have about like 30 seconds, Carmina. So maybe instead of taking one more question, we can hear some final words from you.
No, just thank you for listening, and I'll drop my LinkedIn in the chat. Hope we can connect. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks so much, Carmina. All right, then. So we will move to the final presentation, and the final company is hihilulu, and Jennifer, CEO and founder of the company, will share the opportunity with us.
Hi, everyone. Let me call it out. Could you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer, the founder and the CEO of hihilulu. What if I told you that the way we learn Chinese is completely wrong? I guess nobody would believe it, right? Let me introduce you to hihilulu, the new way for children to learn Chinese effectively. What is the existing market of Chinese language education? 40%, according to this white paper published by VIP Kid years ago, 40% Chinese learners are not happy with the quality of Chinese content. 38% complains that there's a lack of adapted teaching resources. Therefore, the learning and teaching is not efficient enough. When we look at the market, of course, it's a high-growing market. According to Holland IQ, that in next years till 2027, let's say, let's just pick up K-12. The growth rate in average would be 12.1% annually, till we reach at 13.1 billion. So, what would be the solution, the right solution for such an important growing market? And why should be hihilulu, by the way? Let me introduce myself. I am a mother frustrated to help my kids learn Chinese effectively, playfully, easily in France. Myself speak 4 languages, so I have learned all kinds of different languages. In a way, I'm a little bit like a linguistic fanatic. On top of that, my professional background is international marketing, and I have engineering and MBA education background. More important than me is, of course, our academic advisor and partner, who is Professor Joe Bellasang. He is the inventor of a very unique methodology of Chinese teaching, and he is the Honorary Inspector General of Chinese Language Teaching at Education Ministry in France. So what is our unique solution? You all know that Chinese language is tonal but pictographic, which make a lot of non-Chinese learners feel challenged completely. You have to learn listening, speaking versus reading and writing in two complete different systems. Rather than normal mainstream Chinese language solution from China and even Taiwan, we promote a very unique pedagogy, which is called dualism pedagogy. That pedagogy split 4 language skills and treat oral communication totally different to the character-based literacy learning. This approach, according to Wikipedia, is called Belasang approach. His invention, called the snowballing method, is completely applied and transformed into a digital innovation through our solution, with rich content from cartoons to quiz and gamified content, plus AI-enhanced feature for speech training. So let me show you very quickly what is exactly this snowballing method. Based on this very straightforward logical method, it respects the root of Chinese language and character. Professor Belasang identified 214 components as the building block of Chinese language. We have taken out 125 components, which extend to its related character family. Therefore, we are able to teach children and our learners thousands of Chinese characters in a very linear, effective, logical way. Our go-to-market strategy is pretty much like snowballing. We want to build a premium Chinese language brand. So we started with premium institutions to build our credibility there. We have worked with international schools, Montessori type of private schools, high-end premium private schools to launch our full service model successfully. And based on the success from individual schools, we entered into education groups, affiliations, and distribution partnerships. From that success, we are entering into the second phase to use our teacher, Chinese language teacher trained by us globally as an ambassador to penetrate into much bigger market and slowly bring in their own private customers, such as local families, into our offering. Where we are now, we started successfully in Paris.
Maybe final words, Jennifer, before we move to the Q&A.
Okay. Do I have 1 more minute?
Maybe less than a minute, 30 seconds.
Okay, good. So where we are now, I'm finishing. We started in Paris, but grew into selective strategic market. We are active in Middle East now, and we are successful with selected African market. We entered into Saudi Education Ministry's pilot project, and we just signed in Kenya a platform with over 260 schools. And our AI roadmap is clear. We are building our own language model, and we'll upgrade our existing digital platform step by step. And we are raising 3 million fund to grow faster internationally and upgrading with AI enhancement of the current offer. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Miriam, would you like to start? Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you. Jennifer, thanks for the presentation. I really liked the snowball analogy. It makes a lot of sense, actually. It made sense throughout the presentation. I guess my question, I'm just still processing, will be a little bit around just funding to date. Can you tell us a little bit about the funding history, where your investors are located, what you're looking to raise now, and what you're looking for in an investor? Sorry, it's a few questions in one.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, we are raising now 3 million. And so previously, like typical this kind of edtech company, because I have my personal drive to launch this venture. So it started like typical family friends as a seed funding with my own money, with my family support and friends. So that's the first round. And then we got into some institutional stakeholder now. For example, Learn Launch in Boston is a small stakeholder from us. We are one of their portfolio company. And we have also got government grants in France. We got 2 grants as innovation. And then we got a big angel investor in France, very famous one, who supported us until now. So far, this is how we are financed. And of course, now we are looking for strategic partner who could help us grow internationally faster.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, Arushi, any question from our side?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, Jennifer. A quick, clarifying question. I wasn't sure from the slide around teachers. Do you have live tutors and teachers on the platform, or is it fully digital, like AI based? And could you talk a little bit more about how a student or a child might interact with the platform?
Okay, well, we have actually developed a complete digital platform, and we launched 3 years ago in Paris with Montessori and international schools. And the interaction is completely different because most of those kind of private schools have big touch screen. So our digital curriculum can be called out on touch screen, and then some students could even, some schools have even tablet. So we can do really interactive thing. But there are 2 extremes. There are schools embracing this kind of complete digitalization. So our digital platform can be on tablet, can be on big touch screen, and even through overhead projector, easily used. All the gamified content can be also used through mouse, you know. And then we have some extreme school customers like Montessori. They only like paper, more and more demands to paper. So we are forced to develop a full set of paper and physical materials in line with our online curriculum and level by level. So like this, we can deal with those so-called hybrid learning and teaching, which is of course very welcoming at many premium schools. Yeah, and the interaction from student side, I would say, is of course very, very, very positive than traditional textbook kind of teaching. As we have physical materials, which is almost like Lego, because this method is in line with Montessori type of language learning. It is gamified. So we have Lego, we have a scramble book to use this method to the extreme. So students can also learn just on paper and without even touch screen, they can learn as well. The same content, same method. And if you're interested, I could probably show you our product another time, the physical part as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Arushi. Marina?
Yes, thank you, Jennifer, for sharing this presentation. I'm curious to hear, I guess, a little bit more about, and this is a little bit off of Arushi's question as well, just like in practice, I imagine it's functionally very different using it in the classroom versus in a family environment. So just curious to hear about like in practice how that's viewed. And then also question on, I guess, like a little bit what the target age demographic is from a student perspective, because, and this may be like more deeply built into your platform, but actually I took Mandarin when I was growing up, and I am a little bit curious, I guess, like how does that develop over time when you're starting to learn how like pinyin and like writing and how to speak?
Well, obviously you know a little bit Chinese because you mentioned pinyin. Let me answer this question first. We don't introduce pinyin until our students master around 200 characters already. And our current customers are from 3 to 14-year-old, and all at the beginner level, all at the beginner level. So we have developed on our platform, we have developed 8 levels already, basic that is suitable for 8 years learning. Kindergarten 2 levels, primary schools 5 levels, and the first level of middle school is launched, which is also applicable for high school students because it's a different, more mature content, as you can imagine. So to answer your question of those pinyin, we do not have any pinyin at the beginning. I would at least say at level 1. For kindergarten, no at all. That's why we signed exclusive license of Chinese language version of some famous cartoons to create immersive language context. And for kindergarten, there's definitely no pinyin. They should just immerse and mimic the pronunciation rather than confusing them with 4 tones, because that drives everybody crazy, right? So we are completely different method than the mainstream Chinese offer. That I can boldly say. And that is about the pinging. Secondly, the question about how it is in classroom and versus at home, if I understand your first question properly. So in classroom, we give our teacher a full online access. All the schools will provide computer and overhead projector, even some of them directly gigantic touch screen. So the teacher will call out our teacher dashboard with all by level, all curriculum, and they will teach online, on the touch screen. Meanwhile, each teacher will have 7 physical materials, so they can use physical materials to assist their online offline kind of hybrid teaching. And that is basically in the classroom. And then at home, as we are a digital platform, we have assigned homework on our platform. All the students per week, they will receive online homework plus Chinese character writing booklet, so that they have online homework to finish and then real writing exercise on the booklet, on paper, to do as well. It is a kind of mandatory offer to all our school students.
All right, Jennifer, thanks so much. We actually passed the time, so maybe Mateus, if you have any comments or feedback, maybe not question, before we close.
No, I just had a question on runway or the target with the 3 million. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe we can have like very short answer, runway, and
like where do you want to be with this 3 million?
Yeah, very short answer for that, Jennifer.
Oh yeah, this 3 million. So we have, of course, we have BP. We're happy to show you if you're interested. And this 3 million, basically, we want to have in the next 2 years more aggressive international expansion. What you have seen in the market, we have breakthrough in Middle East and Africa was from our own limited angel investment funding. So what we can do is we first of all would like to be more aggressive in the testing market already. So we need to have a local operation and to enhance the penetration more faster and quicker in those markets already. Then we want to look at another new market to grow basically internationally quicker. So 60% of the funding would go to sales marketing effort. And then we will have the upgrading of the already finished complete system, but the integrating AI into it. So what we are doing now is we are training our own tiny language model according to our snowballing system. And this system is so unique and comprehensive. We are building this so-called knowledge database, which will be the base for us to extend into the upgrading of the next version of platform. For example, we would use the current existing AI tools, whatever, to upgrade some features easily already, like ebook, whatever. We have all those kind of digital content. However, we would like to have, according to our guideline, AI-assisted courseware for whatever theme possible for teacher. And we want our students learn and practice Chinese at home with our animations, the cartoons, but with embed AI feature. So this is all the funding will go to.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you everyone. That was the final presentation for today. Our next EdTech Investment Conference will be potentially next year or towards the end of this year. So we will announce that in any case, maybe in the Q3. Thank you for the advisory board, Arushi, Mateus, Marina, Miriam. Thank you everyone in the audience staying with us until then, and thank you for all the presenters.
May I ask very quickly, if you're just finishing right now, will you be sending out our emails, decks to all of the?
Absolutely. We will do all the communication right this week or early next week. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.